This year, I have been married 23 years. I know. People always say to me, but you look so young, and I'm like, I know. But it's only because there's so many child brides where I'm from, so. That's a joke. I wasn't a child bride. I wasn't a child bride. But yeah, 23 years. Let me tell you, 23 years is the longest I have ever done any one thing that I didn't technically have to keep doing. And what I've learned is that if you want to stay married, but also stay happy, because they are not naturally coterminous, huh? What you have to do is focus on what is important. Let everything else fall away. Focus on what is important. I'll give you an example. So my husband and I were having an argument the other day, and he was saying, well, actually, we've been married 23 years. We don't have arguments now. We have throwdowns. Do you know, like MMA level? Yeah? Do you know what MMA is? Yeah, marriage martial arts, correct. No matter what the topic, we both always bring it for everything, right? Because we know that after 23 years and 3 kids, nobody's fucking going anywhere. Like, this is it. We're just trying to get to the end of this somehow. Like, this argument was about chewing gum. But we were like, oh, it was crazy. And also some background. When I moved to this country many years ago, I very quickly applied for and got a UK passport. Because I was like, man, I am never going to be like these people, no offense. But I should at least have the same paperwork. It seemed polite. But my husband is Danish, and he didn't bother. And then we were having this argument, and he said to me, I don't understand. Why don't you throw your gum in the bin? I was like, you know what I don't understand is why you don't fuck off back where you came from. Thank you. But I have to be honest, that phrase, what a nice phrase, shit. It felt so good. I had no idea. All these years, I was like, why do they say it? Now I know. Oh, such a nice feeling it gives you here, you know, afterwards. Yeah, so I'm totally on board with it, by the way. Just knock yourselves out now. I guess the problem was that it bothered our children a little bit. We were having lunch, it was Sunday. The youngest, she said, oh no, Mama said the F word. And I said, oh, darling, you're right, I did. But when you grow up and meet the man of your dreams, so will you. And then my middle child, she's very woke. Do we know what woke means? You know what woke means? No. Woke is, no, I'll tell you, woke is someone who doesn't understand the difference between racism and a joke about racism, yes? That is woke. So she's very woke, and she said, you can't say that to Dad, that's racist. I said, racist? I said, look at my face. I can't be racist. Everyone knows only white people. only white people are racist. She got so offended, and she stomped out of the room. And I was like, oh, come on, man. It was a joke, darling. Come back. I know, you're half white. Oops. I didn't say that to my husband because I'm racist. I said that to my husband because I'm married. And anyone who's been married any length of time, 5, 7, 9 minutes, it doesn't matter. You know what the most important thing is. It is to win. Correct. It is to win. And this is not a selfish goal. Not at all. Here's why. Because you know when you win, you feel better about yourself? Yes? Yeah. Feel better about yourself, you feel better about the rest of the world. You are a nicer person, you are a better spouse. You do it for the health of the unit. That is why you win. Yeah, because you care about your marriage. It is almost selfless. Do you know how taxing it is to go into every situation with your spouse thinking, how am I going to win? But you do it because you really want this marriage to be robust. He shut me down. And I didn't want to shut down because I think the key to a good marriage is communication. So in order to let my husband know how I felt about that whole situation, I told a baby that Santa's not real. There's a lot of judgment in that side of the room. I did, and I told her it was her father. It had always been her father. And I took the Santa kit out of the closet, and I was like, Okay, let's address the judgment, right? Let's do it. Here's the deal between me and Santa. I'm from India. I don't give a shit. Okay? And for those of you in this room who are like, well, obviously from India, how could she culturally appreciate Santa Claus? 28 million Indians are Christian. That's 5.5 Denmarks glommed together. We have Christmas, we have Santa. But let me ask you this, how many of you have met an Indian Santa? Yes. Let me explain Indian Santa to you, then you will realize it is not a cultural oversight on my part. You will understand why I'm not invested in this man. First of all, Indian Santa is never white, but he knows he should be because of all the books and all. So all Indian Santas put powder on their face and go out, and it's warm and they sweat. And the powder runs down their face and it goes in their eyes, and sometimes it goes in their mouth. So as a child, you meet Santa on the street corner and Santa is going, Merry Christmas, Nat. This is not convincing to any child, okay? It is also not fair. Secondly, you know how Santa is supposed to be fat and jolly? Yes? Yeah. In India, if you are eating enough to be fat and jolly, you don't take the Santa job. So I'm not going as far as to say emaciated, but I have met some thin, hungry Santas in my time. When I was 8 years old and I had gone to a Christmas carnival in the little town in India where I lived, and I had had my first Tutti Frutti ice cream, and I was taking it back to my house, and my mom and I were walking, and there was a Santa there. She said, oh, look, bichara, he is so hungry, the Santa, give the ice cream. Give your ice cream to the Santa. I had to give my fucking Tutti Frutti ice cream to Santa. I'm not invested in him. And finally, English is the language of elites in India, okay? And Santa is never an elite. So he doesn't know that it must be ho, ho, ho. He thinks, ha, ballpark. So many times Santa has come to me and said, oi, ha, ha, ha. Like Dracula, okay? So I'm not invested. Yeah, and yes, you know what? The baby was a little bit upset, but she will get over it. You guys start out believing in Santa and then end up? I hope I have not shocked anyone here today. Plus, I have to be honest, it was nice to empty her mind of some bullshit and fill it with math. That's so unfair. But guess who was devastated? Yeah, it was my husband. And I said, wait, honey, you said I was playing a game. Let's keep score. You 0, Sindhu 10 million. And then I said to him, you know what? You hurt me on purpose, but I didn't crumble. I didn't walk out. I took what you did and I turned it into something very good for this marriage. I turned it into a win. I mean, I said that to Crunchy and the Christmas tree because my husband had left. I'll give you another technique about winning, just to keep in your back pocket, which is when the correct occasion presents itself, make sure you lie to your spouse. Okay? But it must be the correct occasion. Don't lie about irrelevant, lightweight bullshit. Like, oh, I didn't eat the last hobnob. Nobody cares. It is a biscuit. But then don't swing to the other extreme and lie about really important stuff. Like, what? No, of course this is your son. Don't do that. No. You must lie about the correct thing, the sweet spot. Stuff like, oh, darling, I booked our holiday that week. I had absolutely no idea your mother was coming. And the reason you lie like this is when you do this, you keep your spouse mildly destabilized at all times. And then you have more power. More power, higher chance of winning. Which you do for the health of the unit. Correct. So anyone here who is married or in a long-term relationship? Yeah. Among you, there will be at least one person listening to this and you're saying, she's very funny, but that's not how my relationship works. We are very transparent with each other. I know, and you are thinking this because you are the loser. Someone had to tell you, and that person is me. You need to go home and pay attention to what is actually going on. When I was at university, I met a boy, and I fell very hard for this boy. And I fell very hard for him predominantly because he was very funny. He made me laugh. You know how that can happen? You meet someone and they're really funny and they suddenly start seeming sexy to you? I know, don't look at me like that. Pay attention, story. Anyway, yes, so he was very funny. And the thing he used to do that really got me was he would write me these little cute little notes like, hey, Sindhu, I was staring at you in class. I didn't even write any notes. Hey, Sindhu, what are you doing after dinner? I want to go for a walk. Hey, Sindhu, I have candles in my pocket for when we go to dinner and I can put them on the table. Like really cute stuff. And he would write these little documents and put them on an email and send me the email, and I would open the email and the email would say, hey, Sandhog. I was staring at you in class, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Sandhog, blah, blah, dinner, blah, blah. Hey, Sandhog. Because Microsoft Word autocorrect used to correct my name Sindhu to Sandhog. Does anyone know what Sandhog means? Do you want to guess? No. People are really nervous to guess because people think it's something racist. Which frankly, I wish it was, because how famous would my show be? Sandhog, my years of oppression by Microsoft Word autocorrect. Amazing. No. Sandhog is the name they gave miners and builders that made tunnels underground, starting in the 1800s in the United States. Literally could not be more boring if you tried. Sandhog. But I didn't care what the word meant because I started dating this boy. And by the way, Microsoft Word autocorrect no longer changes my name to Sandhog. You know why? I'll tell you. Because the whole of Microsoft is being run by an Indian man called Satya Nadella. And Satya Nadella knows that when someone types Sindhu, even if they are racist, Sandhog is not what they're thinking of. And I just want to say, Indian mothers, we get so much shit in the West for being tiger moms. Why are you so tough on your kids about studies? Why do your kids always have to get such good grades? Why? Because our kids have to get good grades, go to high places, and fix shit. That is why. Anyway, so where were we? Yes, I started dating this boy. Oh, and he started calling me Sandhog. It became an inside joke. And it was an absolutely perfect romance. We went on a lot of walks. We had a lot of dinners. He always had a tea light in his pocket. When we went out to dinner, it was very cute. And I won't lie, we had an inordinate amount of sex. Just unbelievable. The whole term, I was so itchy but so happy. I was like, what's happening? I mean, literally UTI queen. But it was incredible. It was incredible. And there was so much laughter. And that's what really made it a perfect romance. He was an exchange student, though, so he left at the end of term. And what I got to keep was the word Sandhog. And it stayed with me, and people say, why'd you call the show Sandhog? It's because for me, it's such a special word. It is the perfect romance, Sandhog. Anyway, and then a year and a half later, I left the university, and I moved to London. And then one day in London, out of nowhere, I bumped into this boy. And then 20 days later, as you do, we got married. Did you notice how nervous the laughter was there? People are like, that took a dark turn. There was a lady in Kent who jumped up in 2019 and said, no, don't do it, that's too soon. It's like, did you listen to the first line of this show?